And now we're back to doing stupid movies. I remember when this came out, and I thought, oh, PG-13 film with the 70s exploitation title. That's very disappointing. Never saw it, but it was just added to Netflix, so I thought, what the hell? 2012's House at the End of the Street. And yeah, at first I thought, oh, it's got that 70s exploitation film title. Last House on the Left, Last House on a Dead End Street. But it's PG-13 and it's not a remake or a reimagining or anything of anything from the 70s. So I never saw it, and I actually completely forgot about it till I saw it on Netflix. And I even had to check, because I was like, isn't this a remake of something? And I checked, and no. And I'm glad, because I can only imagine if they took a Last House on the Left or a Last House on Dead End Street, did a PG-13 fucking remake. And it was directed by Mark Tonderai, who the writer of Day of the Dead Bloodline. So there. Great. Which, I like that more than this. And he did not write this. But it stars Jennifer Lawrence, Max Therio, Elizabeth Shue, Nolan Garrett Funk, which is that nope, that's the douchebag. Well, who's the actor's name that played the cop? Gil Bellows. He played the Tommy, the Elvis-looking kid from Shawshank. He plays an officer in this. And I had to wonder, why did Jennifer Lawrence agree to this? I mean, at first I was thinking, oh, maybe this was before she hit it big. No. She had already done the first Hunger Games. It came out the same year, but after Silver Linings Playbook. So I think maybe she wasn't. She must have been nominated at that point, and she did win the Oscar for that. And Silver Linings is a great movie. I love Silver Linings Playbook. If I want to watch her in a romance film, I'll watch that. Made on a modest budget of $6.9 million, and it made $44 million. So there's that. But I mean, it's a PG-13 horror movie. So what else do you expect? You have a bunch of attractive people. You know, in this CW cast. Romance is basically the main subject, and nothing happens. And you have a stupid twist, jump scares at the end. I mean, the first 2 acts of this film is a fucking forbidden romance story, because all it is Jennifer Lawrence and her mom. They move to this place where they're the next to last house. And, you know, it's this small town where everyone knows what happened. The house at the end of the street. The parents were murdered. And all that's left is the son who now lives there. Played by Max Therio. Which, what the hell was even the story with the sister? Okay, so that's what it was. I missed that part. Supposedly, because I thought that was going to be a twist. But basically, the parents were murdered by the younger sister, younger daughter of the Max Stereo character. And then she fled into the woods and was never seen again. Because later on, there's a couple, they're parked at this place, they're making out, and the girl sees Carrie Ann. She's like, oh, I saw a girl. And he's like, oh, is Carrie Ann out there? So it's like this urban legend. But I was, like, no one really mentions her, like, what happened to her. I guess that's what happened to her. But now the son lives there, and the son is pretty much, he's a social outcast. He's college age. Kids think he's a freak. Adults don't trust him. But, you know, he's very polite, insightful, well-spoken. And of course, he's handsome. So Jennifer Lawrence takes a liking to him. She's in a band, which, well, she's a musician. And she's not a bad singer. And Jennifer Lawrence is a great actress. I really like her as an actress. But she doesn't get to do anything in this film. It's literally like she did Silver Linings where she worked, she acted her ass off, and then she did this where she doesn't have to do anything. In fact, no one really does anything in this film. Even Max Stereo, he's very, I don't know if it's just the younger male actors that are chosen for these films or the direction they're given, but they're always very dry, very just like, yeah, so my sister, yeah, I'm fixing up the house. I haven't talked to anybody about it. Yeah, well, yeah. That's his performance. Even when something actually happens, he's still very just. Gil Bellows, I would probably say, gives the best performance in the whole film. And was it Elizabeth Shue? Was that? Yeah. Elizabeth Shue plays Jennifer Lawrence's mother. And we're made not to like her because she's always calling her to make sure she's home, telling her to stay away from Ryan, the Max Stereo character. Even invites him over for dinner just to tell him, I don't want you two to be together or even hang out together alone. You get the Jennifer Lawrence is kind of rebellious. Well, first, she kind of starts this thing with this kid named Tyler, who's this faux-hawked, Abercrombie-wearing douchebag, played by Nolan Gerard Funk. And of course, at this party, she meets this one girl who's very drunk. She takes care of her. Then this Tyler kid comes in. He gets a little overzealous with her. She has to push him off of her. And then she leaves. And then that girl becomes good friends with her. And yeah, there's a scene later on with that Tyler kid and all his other preppy, jockey, douchebag fucks. Best scene of the movie is when he gets his fucking, like, ankle busted by Ryan. And when the cop puts his dumb fuck parents in their place, which I'll get to that. But literally, the whole, because then she's walking home from the party. Ryan pulls up to her, offers her a ride, saying, I saw you move in, I'm your neighbor. Then it starts to rain, so she gets in, and that's when she finds out how polite and nice and insightful he is. She keeps going out of her way to see him. They they like each other. And that's pretty much the whole fucking movie, is the two of them having this relationship, which the kids at school don't like him, even though he's college age, so I don't know why he cares anyway. Her her mother forbids it, so of course that just makes her want to see him even more, probably. Her mother hints that she finds these damaged guys and makes projects out of them, so of course she fucking does. And just a little bit sprinkled throughout the film, like, first time we see him in his house, he's getting like soup and cookies ready. He goes down to the cellar. There's an even further cellar that he goes down, and there's this locked door. And this girl goes psycho on him. And he gives her a shot to calm her down. And we get, oh, that's Carrie Ann. She didn't run off into the woods. He's holding her captive. It's like, oh, okay. And it's a guy, his sister's all he has left. He loves his psychotic fucking sister, so he keeps her prisoner, but he cares for her. You wish the film would focus on that more and not this fucking romance between him and Jennifer Lawrence. She escapes a couple times and always goes to the house of Jennifer Lawrence. You think it's because she wants to kill her, but you find out later what's really going on, because she escapes. She manages to get to this place where these kids are parking. That's when they're like, oh, I saw a girl. Oh, is it Carrie Ann? And he's holding her mouth shut to keep her from screaming, and she's writhing, and you hear a snap, so her neck accidentally got snapped. So he like carries her into a field, and we never see her again. And so then he goes into this place, this diner. This waitress you can tell she likes him, gives him some free cake. Then we find out Jennifer Lawrence goes to his house again, and he's getting this new Carrie Ann set up, and that's where the film takes a totally different direction. It's like he had to find a new Carrie Ann, because it's that girl from the diner. And you get little bits of his history, like, because the first time Jennifer Lawrence goes over there, he's kind of showing her around. He's supposed to be remodeling the house. Carrie Ann's actual bedroom looks like a young girl's room, but supposedly she was 13 when she killed her parents. And he says there was an accident when they were on the swings where she fell off, she hit her head, got brain damage, so she kind of stayed the same, but the brain damage made her somewhat psychotic. Of course, the parents were doing heroin or whatever and blamed him. She's doing Battle of the Bands, asks him to come, so he goes. And that's when the fucking designer clothes, faux hawk, preppy douchefuck, and his equally preppy douchefuck friends jump him. Well, he goes inside, they start trashing his car just because Jennifer Lawrence is with him. So he goes out to stop them, they jump him. And literally, the only good part of the movie, at least the part that I found entertaining, was he gets the Tyler guy on the ground, he snaps his foot, and then he runs off. And his friend's standing there calling him like a bitch. It's like, he snapped your friend's foot, you're gonna call him a bitch, you dumb fuck. And then part two of the best part is at the hospital, because Jennifer Lawrence's mother's a doctor, or nurse, or doctor. We see the officer there talking to the Tyler kid's parents, and of course the mother is like, I want Ryan, whatever, arrested. And he was like, well, I'm going to get statements from everyone, and it sounds like it was self-defense. if it turns out that Tyler instigated it, he will be arrested on assault. Oh, well, of course, the father's trying to act all like she's gonna divorce me if I don't fucking. And you're always protecting him, and he's like, look, your son is harassed. Your son and his friends have harassed this kid for years. And she's like, I want that animal. He even defends him. He's like, that animal's name is Ryan. He's like, I don't care what his name is. He's gonna hear from it. It's just, you have a punky douche fuck kid and with these enabler parents because he's a preppy douche. This cop puts him in their place, like, you're pretty much the reason, and I'm gonna do what's right. I don't care if your son is the king of the world at school. Those are the only two parts of the film I found entertaining, because all the other parts of this film, where we see his sister in the cellar, and then when she dies, then he gets a new one. It's interesting, and you want the film to go in that direction, but it doesn't. It focuses more on the relationship of him and Jennifer Lawrence. It's just like, I understand it's PG-13, but you can focus a little bit more on the horror thriller stuff. So after that whole thing, Jennifer Lawrence goes to his house because he leaves his keys in his busted car, so she goes there. He has to run. The douchebags are there. They throw a flaming, I think it's a roll of toilet paper through the window to start a fire, but she puts it out. And she finds in the garbage an empty box of tampons and a box of blue contacts. So she's like, well, he's the only one that lives here, so, what the hell? And we see that before we see the girl from the diner down in the cellar as the new Carrie Ann. But, one thing leads to another, and pretty much Jennifer Lawrence knows because she's walking around the house. She goes down there. The one girl attacks her, and then Ryan comes in. He subdues both of them, ties them both up. But he decides, because he's like, I can't have you and Carrie Ann. So he just kills the diner girl, throws her in the trunk. And that's when the cop shows up, and this is really the only horror movie or thriller act of the film. Because he calls Jennifer Lawrence's phone. Of course, it was dropped in the kitchen, so it goes off. And you pretty much just have Jennifer Lawrence escaping and getting caught again, and the cop going there, figuring things out, getting killed, the mom going in there and getting involved. And eventually, you have just the two of them having to go against each other. She grabs the cop's gun, he kills the power. She shoots him. She has to get the keys to get out of the cellar, but he springs back to life. Then the mom comes in with a hammer to the head. And it's like the movie takes its time to get to that third act with just little subtle seeds of stuff spliced throughout it. Barely spliced throughout it. With this PG-13, pretty couple romance that's forbidden, so of course it's going to make it that much more appealing to people, kids. And then once the whole revelation comes that, because then he says that Carrie Ann died that day of the swings, and his parents blamed and punished him. So he's never had a carry-in down in the cellar. He's always had girls down there, however many it might have been. So, you know, he is psychotic. He is, you know, whatever she's been warned about, he has been. And then the movie ends with her and her mom. They're going to move away. Then we get one last scene of Ryan, who's still alive. He's in a psychiatric hospital doing a puzzle. And we get a flashback to him on his birthday. He's wearing girls' clothes. He gets his birthday cake. They're saying, "Happy birthday, Carrie Ann." He says, "My name isn't Carrie Ann." And the junkie mother slaps him. So now we're like, did Carrie Ann even exist in the first place? Did his parents have him, like, it was this after the accident? You know, did the parents want a girl too, or in general, so they just made him do that? We only saw one children's bedroom in the house, and that was a little girl's room. So it puts that last little scene in there, I guess, to keep you guessing, but there really wasn't enough to this film to enjoy. It has a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes. I can fucking see it. You have a talented cast, at least Jennifer Lawrence and Gil Bellows. I would say Gil Bellows does do the best job for as little of the film as he's in. Jennifer Lawrence is not given a lot to do at all. Because most of the time, she's just being Jennifer Lawrence. Then towards the end, when she has to, like, cry or scream, it's kind of there. This was the first film to come out the same year after Silver Linings, which, I mean, maybe she put all her shit into that film, and this was just a paycheck. I don't really know. But yeah, it's not a good movie at all. It's more, I would say it's more frustrating than bad, because there are little bits that if they focused on it more, it would have been better. Instead of focusing on this teenage romance film. I guess this was in development hell for quite a while. It was announced in 2003. And then it finally went into production in 2010. Filmed in Canada. Yeah, did not do well at all when it came out. But, yeah, I was not a fan of this film at all. Because it really sells itself to be this straightforward horror film. You know, the title, I mean, you give it an exploitation film title. This should have been called, you know, honestly, if they just called this The Boy Next Door, that's more of a PG-13 title. House at the End of the Street sounds like a disturbing exploitation film, which this is not. Definitely PG-13. You know, you have very little deaths, which, yeah, it's more of a psychological thriller than it is a slasher film, but just the little bits that were interesting, his sister down in the cellar, and then this new girl in the cellar, and more about his story. Like, this could have been, like, a man in a room type story, like a 1 hour photo or a taxi driver, dealing with this guy's loneliness and his psychology. Taxi driver, 1 hour photo, Bad Lieutenant, something like that. God rated R, and just go full out exploitation. instead of this PG-13 CW, you know, girl meets dark mysterious boy, boy meets girl, boy girl like each other, girl isn't allowed to see boy, finds out he's fucked up. Because that's most of this movie, is girl likes boy and boy likes girl. But yeah, not a big fan of this film at all. I can't recommend it at all. More than anything, I would say it was a waste of time. I could have gone without watching or reviewing this film, but 2012's House on the End of the Street, very deceiving title. But yeah, thank you for watching.